Welcome to Warhammer Warscroll Review. In this video, we're taking a look at the Nighthaunt unit, the Glaivewraith Stalkers.
Warscroll Review.
Glaivewraith Stalkers will be the first new Nighthaunt unit I review. They are fairly basic, but they are still an interesting choice. Standard Nighthaunt stat wheel with 6-inch flying movement, and a 4-up save that doesn't care about positive or negative modifiers. The Stalkers are also complete with the normal Death Bravery of 10. They have one melee weapon, the Hunter's Glaive. This is a 2-inch weapon with 2 attacks, 4s to hit and 3s to wound. No rend and damage 1. That's pretty unimpressive. I guess the 2-inch reach is nice for ranking the models up and keeping their frontage small, but the Stalkers are generally a small unit, so that reach is really not that useful. The Glaivewraith Stalkers come with 2 more abilities that work well together. Firstly, their musician allows them to retreat and charge in the same turn. This is a very desirable special rule, not only for the added maneuverability, but because of the next special rule on the Warscroll. The Point of Death allows the ghosts to reroll hit rolls when an opponent charges them or they charge themselves. Being able to retreat and charge allows you to make great use of the Point of Death. One of the Nighthaunt's weaknesses is their low to hit rolls. The Glaivewraiths are one of the few units in the faction with a natural way to mitigate this. Too bad they're Ren, none, and damage 1. The Glaivewraith Stalkers come in units of 4 and cost 60 points. These are some of the cheapest units you can add to a Nighthaunt army, so sometimes you will just have the points left over, in which this unit fits well. They make decent objective grabbers and harassers. Being able to retreat and charge means that as long as they aren't destroyed, they can keep moving towards the target they need to and not get slowed down. But don't expect these models to be doing damage to anything but the weakest of targets. They can be sent at weak support characters to some degree of effectiveness, but if they don't kill the character, it shouldn't be a surprise. If you want to take a larger unit, you can bring up to 16 in the same unit, but I can't quite say I'd recommend it. Even with a lot of attacks, these models are still not doing that much damage. Their cheap price and middling abilities make them more of an afterthought when the death player happens to have about 60 points left and nothing better to add. The Glaivewraith Stalkers can be a part of a Death Grand Alliance, any Legion of Nagash, and, obviously, Nighthaunt. With any of these allegiance abilities, the Stalkers would gain a Deathless save, saving their butts a sixth of the time. Any of the Legions would be adding their patented Grave Sight technology. Adding back D3 wounds to a Glaivewraith Stalker unit basically heals it full in most cases. There are plenty of other ways to heal up Stalkers, and D3 is really all it takes. Like many other death units, the Stalker's best rule is their summonable keyword. The Unquiet Dead, part of any of the Legions in the Nagash, would allow a player to redeploy a destroyed Glaivewraith unit, making this throwaway unit even more so. Use the Stalkers with reckless abandon, knowing you can just set them back up and try again. Other legions, including the Grand Host of Nagash and Legion of Sacrament, also have abilities to return slain Stalkers. Ageless Cunning is an ability that is gained from a Legion of Night. Instead of setting the unit up normally, deploy the Glaivewraith Stalkers and up to 2 other units in a following movement phase. They get set up within 6 inches from a table edge and 9 inches away from an enemy. This is great for making up for the unit's relative slowness. In a Nighthaunt force, the Stalkers are affected by similar abilities. From the Underworlds They Come is a handy battle trait that allows you to place a unit similarly to Ageless Cunning. The difference is in how they are deployed. The Nighthaunt battle trait is not limited to 6 inches from the board edge. This extra freedom is really useful. In a Nighthaunt force, most of the time it will be more effective to throw these guys in reserves and deploy them where you need them later, be it to grab an objective or harass a unit. There are also plenty of Nighthaunt units that enhance the Glaivewraiths, but making them better at combat really isn't the goal, since they will never really be good at combat. The Spirit Torment offers D3 models back at the beginning of each Battle Shock phase, which is actually pretty bonkers when you think about it. It means up to 6 models per Spirit Host per turn. The command trait Ruler of the Spirit Hosts also offers D3 models back to the unit. There's quite a few ways to heal, and as stated before, D3 wounds is more than enough to get them back to full strength. Death Stalkers is a Nighthaunt Warscroll battalion that includes 2 units of Glaivewraith Stalkers, as well as 2 units of Grimghast Reapers, and a Cairn Wraith. The battalion's ability grants 1 unit +1 to hit and wound, which is truly brutal, but always better used on the Grimghasts. Generally, this unit fits well whenever you had the extra points left over, but strategy shouldn't center around the Glaivewraith Stalkers. Throw them in reserves when you can, and use them when and where you need them. Glaivewraith Stalkers receive a 3 out of 5. Honestly, they just barely score that 3 as opposed to a 2, and this is due to them being so cheap. As stated before, they are cheap enough to be more of an afterthought in a list that has the points left over, and for that, they are fairly useful. What do you think of the Glaivewraith Stalkers? What Warscroll would you like to see reviewed next? Let me know your answers, questions, and thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.